In your name, amen. Please be seated. Number one, thinking about the guidelines for growth. Number one, what must I forsake if I am to become a mature Christian? That's what the first thing I want us to see. Notice again what the Apostle Peter says there in verse 1. What must I forsake? And church, understand. Well, I'm not going to say that just yet. I'll get into it here in a minute. What must I forsake if I am to become a mature Christian? You know what? There are certain relics from childhood, aren't there? There are certain cherished relics from childhood. A little girl may have that favorite doll. A little boy may have that blanket or bear. Maybe you too have had that favorite item from childhood. But it's natural for these things to be put away with maturity. How strange it is. And we see that sometimes in our culture today. People holding on to things that should have let go from childhood. You know, we see that. We think, gosh, what's wrong with them folks? Oh, it's natural to put away these things from maturity. That's what Peter says. Notice what he says, therefore, laying aside these things, he said. There are some things that need to be laid aside. The church, I understand that's not always popular in our society. You know, a lot of folks will say, that's why I don't become a Christian, because you got to give up all these things. Well, you give them up because they're detrimental to your walk. It's going to make it hard for you to grow in your faith if you hold on to some things. You hold on to some things. Do you remember when you put those cherished items away? Do you remember when you at what point in time you came to that place where you recognized they were no longer important to you? That time and place when you knew you had grown past them. Well, church, understand here that it's the same in our spiritual walks. The Apostle Paul will say it this way, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. He says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. Do you see what Paul says? Do you hear what the Apostle says? Church, understand. That's the importance of what we need to see here. The point of for us to see is that there will be times in our Christian lives when we will be required to put away those things we had held on to up to that point. We put them away because it's time to put them away. We put them away because if we're to grow in our faith, they must be put away. They must be put away. According to Paul talks about in other places some childish things to put away. Peter even says that here. Or not Paul, but Peter. He says that here. Some childish things to put away, he says there. Envy and hypocrisy, all evil speaking, he says there. Lay these things aside. All malice, bitterness, wrong feelings toward one another. Deceit. Disposition for hypocrisy, envy, the tormented with others is good, evil speaking, slandering, gossip. You know, we're to put these things away. Church, understand here that today that there are some things that we must give up, some things that we must let go of. And all too often, the